everybody. It's Colleen Blondell with Blondell Properties here in Cary, and I am the vice chair for Small Brokerage Council, which is hosting this great event with Phil and Brian today, but also on the board for the Realtor Foundation of Wake County. And that's why I'm here this morning, is just to briefly let you know about the Realtor Foundation. This is our foundation put together to help our neighbors in need. And the goal for Heather, who is the executive director for the foundation, is to increase our awareness for the foundation. And we're doing that by sharing the Facebook page. We'd like everyone to get out their phone right now, take your phone and like the Realtor Foundation page on Facebook. And then on there, you can see some of the things that we're working on right now. We've been featuring Realtor Rally Neighbors Win. So we've been featuring realtors in our area that are doing great things in the community. And then a second thing that we could really use your help with right now is we are trying to provide 25 AC units to the medically fragile seniors this summer. We're calling this the Cooling Lake. And right now, if you like our Facebook page, and you will see the link to donate $20. We can all afford to do that and help some of our neighbors in need. So those are just some of the things that we can do. We're also hosting furnishing apartments for families transitioning from homelessness to stable housing, and are looking for help throughout the year on those types of projects. But again, if you like the Facebook page, that's the best way to stay in touch with what we're doing with the foundation. We've got, I think, 1,000 likes on the Facebook page, but we have 9,000 realtors in the area. So we're really looking to make everyone allow everyone in the realtors in the area, to help them be aware of this and, help them, contribute as a realtor. But when realtors rally, neighbors in need are loved. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Chris Kegel. I'm the 2020 chair of the Small Brokerage Council this year. We would like to welcome Brian Copeland and Philip Becker as dynamic speakers this morning. Brian was a 2011 Nashville Realtor of the Year. He has been one of the most sought after real estate speakers in America, emceeing and keynoting some of the largest conferences in the profession. And Philip Becker, the founder of Becker Properties. He's been a realtor since 2009. He was the San Antonio Board of Realtors Rookie of the Year in 2010. He is a 2011 graduate of the Texas Realtors Leadership Program. He has served on numerous San Antonio Board of Realtors committees, including chairing 2. Philip also served as the youngest member of the San Antonio Board of Realtors Board of Directors from 2012 to 2014. So let's welcome these guys this morning.
Hey everybody. Fake clapping in the background. Yay, fake clapping
Yay!
in the background.
I thought she was going to read my whole bio for a second. And
Me too. I was like, Phil, come on, dude.
That's great. I guess the first question we'd like to start out with is, tell us about your brokerage. What are your proudest company culture attributes? What do your agents love about being part of your team?
Take it away, Brian.
Okay. Well, I'm in doorbell real estate in Nashville, Tennessee. I used to be part of a large brokerage of about 300 agents, and I was the chief engagement officer there. I decided back in 2018 that I wanted to go out on my own, do my own small boutique thing. And so we want to stay small. We value professionalism as a broker. I value having stress-free supervision in life. And I've discovered that being able to control your brand and those you associate with your brand matters. So that's part of the culture piece we really like, is everyone has a commit to professionalism and culture. Our goal is to not be the biggest, be absolutely the best and the most professional. The other cultural pieces that matter to our group is we tend to be very community focused. Our central need is food security. So we work a lot with food pantries and making sure that we're going to make sure that we feed our communities in a healthy way.
and I'm
Awesome.
in San Antonio, Texas. My brokerage, I founded it in 2009. So one of the weird things about me is I never actually worked somewhere else. I started my company from the day I got my license. So I didn't have a clue what I was doing. Thankful for people like Andrew and Brian that kind of helped me figure it out along the way. Currently, it's kind of a boutique office as well, although we are one of the top 30 brokerages in San Antonio. We have just over 40 agents right now. And as far as our culture, it's evident as soon as you walk in the office. I mean, we have a full bar, and it's much more of an event space than it is an office space. Culture-wise, we definitely do stuff our own way. We're young at heart, and also I would say our average age of our agents is about 32. So pretty young as an office as well. And as Andrew knows, we like to say that we're unapologetic. We're going to do stuff our way, and not everybody's going to like it, but we have fun out there. And we're also very tech savvy, which is, I would say, the same about Brian. So we push technology in our marketing and everything that we do. And I'm happy to be with y'all today. So thank you, Chris.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So another question that came in was, when COVID-19 began to ramp up and you knew that your business was going to be impacted, what did you do and what did you tell your team?
Phil?
Yeah, I'll start this one. So, every state's different and every market's different, but we realized pretty quick on in probably the second week of March that this was something that was going to have a long-term effect in our state and in our market. And so what we did is we just started utilizing technology, and we were very fact-based on everything that we put out to our agents. So we closed our offices, of course, as it was mandated by our local and state officials, but we utilized technology such as Zoom. We kept doing our sales meetings. We kept doing our one-on-ones and our training of our new agents. We just took it digitally. And so being able to utilize this technology has helped us feel more together when we've been apart. I will share too, and there may be an expansion question on this later, something that even Andrew and Brian don't know because this just happened. We opened our offices back up a little over a month ago now, again at the direction of our local and state officials, and had everything professionally cleaned. Well, unfortunately, we found out very recently that one of our staff people had tested positive for COVID-19, and we shut down the offices again. And right now we're going through some very, very stringent cleaning process, as well as many of our people have been getting tested if they've been around the office with that staff person in the last 14 to 21 days. And today we have a company called EnviroMaster, very expensive cleaning company, but they're going in to do a professional sanitization so that hopefully we can open back up again soon.
Phil, I want you to not be humble and tell the story about your food that you offered to your agents.
Okay. You know what? I actually forgot about that because it was just something.
Well, let's call it being humble, okay?
Okay.
No,
So,
I'm kidding.
Well, again, we have a lot of younger agents and people that are just newer in the business, and even some of our staff people that they depend on the weekly or biweekly paycheck that they get from our company. And so when they weren't able to come to the office, I felt that we had to do something for them. So I stocked both of our locations with non-perishable items as well as frozen food in both of our freezers at both offices, and just said, hey, no questions asked, come and take what you need, and take only what you need. But it was something little that we could do to help.
And for those who joined late or didn't know, Phil and I are very best friends. So we talk all the time. I'm performing his wedding in Costa Rica, so I can dog on him a little bit because he's my baby brother. So I didn't mean to come across as rude for those of you who don't know our relationship. For me, I believe in digital parallels, and so when COVID-19 happened, I want to talk about the things that you can even do now. It's not about what happened in the past. It's about taking the things that we've learned over the past few weeks and applying them to your business now. And when I talk about digital parallels on this, think about everything you were doing at your brokerage in real life in 2018 and 2019. Everything. Make a list. Get a Google spreadsheet, list it all out. If you were doing client appreciation parties, you were doing your own agent mixers, whatever. list it out, and then try to think what's a digital parallel for it. A digital parallel does not equal. A digital parallel is similar. It contrasts. So for example, as a brokerage, we always did photos with Santa. The room next door to me is the room I set them up in. We're in my photography studio right now, by the way. So you see lights in the background. So I would set up photos with Santa. People would come in, they'd bring their kids. All the brokerage clients could bring their kids in for photos with Santa. Easter rolled around, and we usually do photos with the Easter Bunny. Couldn't do it. So what's our digital parallel in that situation? Again, we couldn't bring them in to do photos, so we set up a Zoom meeting where they had a chat with the Easter Bunny. And we had a lot of San Antonio people, actually, because Phil also, we used it as a thing for cross brokerages. We joined together and said, how can we bring people together from across the nation for this? So Phil actually had several clients in also by coincidence. So they had a chat with the Easter Bunny, and I was the translator for the Easter Bunny. My spouse was dressed in the Easter Bunny costume in the other room. My two children, one was in the kitchen, one was in another bedroom, and we were all on our different computers. And they chatted with the Easter Bunny, asked the questions they wanted to have. And then my kids went out with GoPros on their heads. And we had an Easter egg hunt where they had to count the eggs. And so there were several prizes. One was for the actual eggs that were hidden and who guessed the most, the actual eggs. And then those had to guess how many were actually found, and they had to count. And so they were counting as they were going along, going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like that. And so their parents turned in their list. And then we gave out Amazon gift cards digitally. We had children join us from the San Francisco Children's Hospital. We had a nurse reach out and say, we need experiences for our children. Can they please join? So that premise of the spreadsheet and the digital parallel works. So if you're doing sales meetings, we're finding that what's the word I'm looking for? Engagement's gone up. We were seeing. I spoke at a brokerage that has like 500 people here in Nashville, and they were seeing 20 to 50 people show up their sales meetings in person. They're having hundreds on their Zoom meetings. So it's and again, Zoom is our lowest hanging fruit. But go into the difficult things, like how are you networking your realtors together? We did a thing a few weeks ago that was digital name that tune karaoke with realtors. And it was just a dance party fun. We did spotlight camera like you were in a big stadium and you were spotlighted dancing to the music. We gave away tickets to Disney World. There are things you can do that's fun, and give people hope. So think about those digital parallels. That's what I did in my business. Everything else, pretty much, besides giving a letter to people to say that they could be out working, and doing the risk assessment pieces, all the things we know now that I don't want to go deeply into, and Phil covered a lot of those things. We did all those things too, but most was giving our agents confidence that they can work in this marketplace. And Phil knows this too, because there was a 60-minute story in his city where they interview an agent who's not an agent anymore. They're not doing squat anymore. And that sent the message that you can't buy and sell real estate in your market right now. And what we have to do, and what you have to do as a broker, you have to instill, sorry, I'm pointing at you all, calm down. You have to instill in our agents that they can sell real estate, and that you have empowered them to work during this time. It may be different, but you've got to empower them and give them permission to work and to do it in a new way. And when you can spell that out for your agents, even now, and while COVID is still in God only knows what land right now, they've got to understand to instill that confidence. Consumer, we can sell your house. Consumer, you can buy a home. It will be different, but we can do it.
Mm-hmm.
And remember to focus on the facts and focus on the numbers. Luckily, our board has been putting out MLS stats weekly. And I mean, I'm sure you guys on your MLS can log on and see how many homes sold in the last 24 hours or in the last week. Put that kind of information out there and let people know that the market is still moving and people are still buying and selling, and kind of help fight some of that sensationalism and just, incorrect facts.
Thank you all for that information. Very creative ideas, and I think we can all take a couple of big nuggets away from that. Question that came in: during the COVID time, what did you personally do to pivot how you work with clients, both in the onboarding and during showings, either listings or as a buyer's agent?
Brian, you want to?
Okay. Go for it.
So again, I run a brokerage, but I also am, I actively do help buyers and sellers. So again, we've taken things digitally. We've done buyer counseling sessions virtually. We've done virtual showings. We've even done in-person showings in certain scenarios and situations, but we've adapted to where only the agent is touching things inside the home. The buyers are limited to just the buyers making the financial decision. So if they have, children, unfortunately, we're asking the children to hang back for the showings. We're asking them to essentially keep their hands in their pockets, let the agent open any doors or cabinets or turn on any lights. And that agent is wearing PPE, including a mask, including gloves. Then we're also spraying down surfaces with products like Lysol, or using Clorox wipes to make sure that we even wipe off the lockbox and everything as we're putting stuff back. So that's kind of one thing that we've been doing. As far as the client outreach stuff, kind of like Brian talked about with the parallels, we've done a client appreciation event. It was a virtual cocktail class that actually got a buyer that had worked with us in the past as an investor to reach out again and say, hey, we're looking for something else. So that was very successful. And then Krista loves to cook. And so we've been doing cooking with PB&K and doing some cooking shows, as well as just client appreciation and outreach to stay in touch with our sphere of influence.
My friend Cher Powers here loves your cooking with PB&J. PB&K, sorry. I even caught it. She loves it. She's not a great cook. She'll tell you that, but she's been learning. She has been the queen.
Like new gadgets and stuff.
She's been the queen of door delivery. So she's like, Phil and Tristan taught me how to do that. So anyway, for me, as far as with clients are concerned, I mentioned it in my earlier response about the confidence piece. But you got to have a system in place, and you need to empower your agents in your office. I still am a selling broker also. You need to empower your agents with systems that say, okay, the buyer intake process is this now. And so when we look at buyer intake, we say, okay, we now have the lead that comes in, whether it be on email or phone or text or Facebook, whatever. And then we send out a message that says, when could we schedule a time on Zoom? I will need you on a laptop, not an iPad or a phone. When can you achieve that for me? At that point, we're taking ownership of the client to say, we have a system in place and we're going to empower you to see success. That confidence tells the consumer they're going to be able to get to their in place. Then we set up the 1 hour, hour and a half buyer consultation on Zoom, and we talk about the neighborhoods. I pull up the map. I show them specific areas. I talk about the wheel of Nashville. I talk about the zones of expenses, all those things for them. It's actually a better way to do it, because I usually do it at a table sitting down with them with a piece of paper and a pen. But actually, I'm able to pull it up on screen. They're able to see. And then when they start talking about their needs, I'm screen sharing the whole time. I have my Google document set up there where they can see me taking notes on them and everything at that point. And then after that, I say, okay, and this is going to be our process for this. When you come into town, you're going to need to have the following items. I'm not going to be able to go into every home with you. I will be unlocking the door, and I will stay socially distanced from you. This is showing them, it's not this, so how do you feel about, going in? You've got to give them, this is what's expected. And you have to empower your buyer's agents to know this. On the selling side of actually listing homes, my very first listing during COVID-19 was on Hunters Branch in Antioch, Tennessee. We did the walkthrough by FaceTime, and I literally said, everything is subject to change based off of smell. That's the only thing I can't do today is smell. So on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 meaning it's cat pee city, and 10 meaning it smells like lemons and love and honey. Where do you fall? Okay. They told me they were a 9. Okay. I said, if you are accurate and I walk in that house once you're gone and I'm setting the sign in a lockbox and doing the photography and it smells like a 9, then your price is this. If it smells like a 2, I'm going to be honest with you, and you're going to have to get something done about that. We just got to be honest with people. Okay. We can do everything online except this thing right here. So they got down in our FaceTime. I said, and we tend to just walk around like this with our phones. We're like, here, look at this. Look, no, tell them to slow down. Say, I need you to get down on that baseboard. Are those spider webs I see there? Because when you're asking the question, they're going to see it and go, yeah, I need to get rid of that, as opposed to walking down around the house going, this needs to go, this needs to go. It makes them analyze their own house when they have to get up in it with their phone. So empowering our sellers to understand the system. Those were huge changes we made. And the sellers and the buyers appreciated it. What we're finding again is that most of the consumers are saying, you were the only agent that gave me confidence that they could get us to the closing line. I have 16 closings in June by myself. This is just me. My brokerage has a different number, but me as a practicing selling agent, I have 16 closings in June and 13 set for July, and I'm expecting to add another 9 to that. So people want to close. They just need that confidence that you can get them there.
Brian, would you say that that's an average, above average, or below average number as far as your market?
Above average. You know, and again, I'm solo agent. I don't work with a team. I do all my contract to close myself. I did the team thing. I had 8 people on my team as a sales agent. And what I've discovered is people want individualized service. If you have a team, don't freak out. I'm not saying walk away from it. It's just that we have been taught that if you don't have the team, you're not valuable. That is a lie. You are valuable. You have a different value proposition. No, you won't show up at Zillow as a top agent in the rankings. No, you won't be able to put a billboard up saying the number one in this, but that's your ego. Do the social enema, flush it out of your system, get rid of that ego, because you have value as a solo agent. Your agents in your office who are solo agents who are doing it alone, they have value. Our teams have value too. Hear me clearly. I'm not saying you have an ego if you're on a team. It's just what's been instilled in us. When in 2005, 2006, all I heard was, if I wasn't a team, I wasn't valuable. That's an industry issue. And we have to be able to say all models mean something in this marketplace. And if you're solo doing your own contract to close, great. If you're a solo agent with a transaction closure, great. If you're a solo agent with a buyer's agent and a transaction, fine. If you're a team of 14, great. But embrace the model you have and have confidence in it.
Hey, Chris, just really quick before we go into the next question, we've got a couple in the Q&A here that I wanted to throw over. The first one was a backup, kind of when you guys were both talking about being tech savvy. And of course, you knew the question was coming. What does that mean? For tech savvy is subjective. Some people think, being able to turn their iPhone on means they're savvy, and to others, they're wheeling and dealing. So what does that mean to you guys? What are you doing in your business that you consider savvy, that's kind of a non-negotiable with how you operate?
For me, it's about getting more people in the door, even if it's virtually. So I want to make sure that my listings are presented in the best light possible out there on the internet. Of course, we've been preaching for years that first showing starts online, but even more importantly now. So it's not just in professional photography, but it's also in a professional video that, Andrew, we've been doing since February 2011. But it's also in other technologies that make it easier for buyers to really get an idea of the space without setting foot in the space. So like 3D walkthroughs, such as Matterport. We've been utilizing that a lot, and it's really cool now because, as long as you make sure that you're putting the tools out there so the consumer understands how to use it, they can take measurements, they can place their own furniture in there, they can really do some cool stuff with that Matterport technology. And I'll be honest, before COVID, it wasn't something that I implemented on all of my listings because I felt the video really was good enough. And I still feel it, the video is still a point of differentiation. The Matterport is that next level. And, it's really not even that expensive. I've found people in our market for the average house, I'm spending $175 or less, sometimes $125. So I think it's very affordable to incorporate that technology. So there's just one example.
For me, with the being tech savvy, I call it, if I'm inviting you, Andrew, if I invite you and your wife and Phil and Chris over to my house to cook for me, and I don't know what I'm doing, you don't have confidence as my guest. If I can't run the stove, if I can't fry the chicken, if I can't get the refrigerator going, if I can't make ice, you're going to be uncomfortable in my environment, and you're not going to have a good dinner party experience. And what I'm finding is you have got to know the basics in technology hosting. That means if you look today, Phil's light is on the front of his face. The window's in front of me right here. There's a big window. The consumer does not want to see the silhouette of you. They need to see you. And I know you don't like the way you look on video. None of us do. I see these big old things right here. And every time I look at it, when I wear a collar shirt, I do this to cover my chins up. It is what it is. We have to look at you every day, so get used to looking at yourself, okay? So how are you as a host in your technology spaces? For me, that's tech savviness in this marketplace. Yes, there's cameras. We can talk about those things. Bill is the best at it. I want to talk about the digital, what I call the endearment, the electronic engagement in endearing people to your brand in a way that makes them feel like that you're somebody they want to work with. So, and that happens in the simple ways of making sure that people aren't looking at our nostrils at our cameras like this, that we have our lighting in a good place, that we've got good audio. I'm using the Yeti Blue mic. And as you can tell, when this is on, this is the sound you get. When it's off, this is the sound you get. So your quality matters. The platforms matter. That people aren't using your free 40-minute account. You say, well, log back in and back on and we'll get back on here. Facebook has started chat meeting rooms now, so you can use Facebook meeting rooms. There's many options for you. The thing, though, that where you will mess up is don't get overwhelmed in your technology. Bite off one thing at a time. And if you're sitting here today saying, I can barely run my transaction software, okay, fine. Focus on that. Don't start focusing on this other stuff right now. Focus on the hedgehog. Do one thing well and then move to the next thing. Do a spreadsheet that says, I need to learn the following things. I need to be better at online hosting of meetings. I need to be better at digital presentation of homes online. Then make a spreadsheet that says, I'm going to time block this time and I'm going to watch YouTube videos. I'm going to make phone calls to people that I know who will help me understand this better. But for you to think you're going to be able to take a class and learn this, they don't exist. You have to have the desire to go learn it, and you have to time block your time to do it.
I'm so glad to hear you both say that, because I'm so tired. And Phil, you used the word unapologetic, and you know me, bro. I'm completely unapologetic. I'm so tired of tech savvy equating to being able to use social media. That was a decade ago. It was a decade ago that was considered tech savvy. The people that are out there getting ready to buy homes aren't even on Facebook. They're not doing anything on Facebook right now. So I think you guys are spot on when you talk about a holistic approach to technology and how that comes in to your business. There was a question in the Q&A, and I'm going to be the sarcastic answer on here. They said, what CRM are you using? And the answer is the one you use, the one that you use and work and follow up with. If that's an Excel spreadsheet, it's an Excel spreadsheet. But people who think they can buy their way into organization with their clients, that's the wrong approach. But what do y'all think?
Andrew, I mean, if you're a broker, this is the number one thing you hear from your agents.
Yeah.
They're saying, what CRM are you offering me? And many of you brokers you've got your automatic credit card or your PayPal into your business, and every month you're getting a systems charge for that. I had something I was using that was $450 a month, okay, because the agent said they wanted it. So I'm now, I look at it over the year, and I've spent over $5,000 on this one system. They had used it four times. And so I had to look and say, I can actually do this system for them in 10 minutes myself. So that means out of this year, I would have spent 40 minutes and I would have saved over $5,000. Okay. So you're going to hear from your clients, because your client is the realtor. As a broker, that's our audience today. Your client is the realtor. They're going to ask this question, what CRM? And while the answer is the one you'll use, they're going to want you to provide one for them. And that's going to cost you money. So you have to invest in hearing them to say, what will you use? And if they're not using it, it has to go away, period. And for me, I've used Contactually. I've used RealVolve. I have used Wise Agent. I've used Top Producer. I've used them all. And I've gone back to Google Sheets. And I've got everything lined up there. I do mail merges that interfaces with my email service that interfaces into BombBomb. Any of those things, they all go together. And so I often find myself in digital paralysis. I want it to be perfect. And when you're waiting for perfection, you don't do it. And so I just said, you know what, this is what I will use. This is what traditionally, every time I leave, like when I left Wise Agent, I downloaded everything into a CSV file and then uploaded it into RealVolve and started again. But it all pulled down to just the spreadsheets. And I use my MLS production. And while it's got thousands of homes there, I'll literally go through and I'll click the tax record to see if they still own their home. And you say, wasn't that redundant? Yeah, it is. But it lets me relive the home. It lets me see their face. It lets me see the house they live in, and lets me see, okay, I need to reach out to them, and I'm going to go into RPR and I'm going to send them an RPR report based off of that. So, mine is very, I could save a lot of time. I won't use it.
I mean, for me, tell y'all a secret. The easiest way to make $1 million is to sell something to real estate, because they'll buy anything and they're all looking for the next shiny object. But here's the real secret. There is no shiny object that's going to make your business better or make your brokerage better or make your clients want to work with you more. It's your systems, and it's the way you deliver on the promises that you make to people. So sure, I can answer that question. We use FirePoint, and I do provide it to all of our recently they merged with RealVolve, so we have access to the RealVolve CRM, which is great because of all the integrations like Brian talked about. So if you're actually going to create a system that's going to use technology to stay in front of your customers and clients, well, then you look for something that integrates with the platforms that you use or that you want to start using. But then you have to make sure you actually follow that system. If not, it's just a waste of money and time.
I think both of you also have a good understanding. I mean, you guys are, when I think of technology-driven brokerages and technology-driven folks, you guys are definitely at the top of my list. One question that came through was, let's say I'm not tech savvy. Let's say I'm kind of coming into this profession, this field a little later in life. I don't want to get on these videos, and I can already hear the gears turning here. What are some less technological ways that I can be relevant, that I can work with clients and stuff? And I think this goes to some people. I'll use Krista Clark, for example. I think Krista Clark's postcards that she sends at the end of the year to people are some of the neatest things that she does as a way to stay top of mind with people. When she handwrites those things, I love getting them. What are some things you guys do that are not plugged in, that are kind of those traditional touch points?
For me, and again, this mixes technology, so it's tough. I take the things I'm really good at and what I love, my creativity and the talents I have in photography, and I take them to my consumers. During COVID-19, I offered to my entire neighborhood senior photos on their front porch, where I could go out with my camera and take photos for them, and offered them for absolutely free. Those are, assess what you love doing. You always hear me talk about inventories. What would you be doing in your personal real life just for enjoyment? Then take those and brainstorm every single thing you can do around your loves that helps the consumer. For me, my passion lies in creativity. I love telling stories. I love building brands. I love shooting video. I love shooting photos. I love doing artwork, and how I can integrate that into client touch points matters. So if you're really good, if you say, gosh, I'm a hockey fan, okay, figure out how you make hockey work into your business plan, and how you give touch points to your consumer, and how you build consumers that way. The good old handwritten note. I keep custom stamps. That's one of my little secrets. Is I keep everything. Let me see if I've gotten here. Some here in my drawer. This is my photography office. As I mentioned, I keep green envelopes. So all my letters go out in green envelopes because green has the best open rate. I handwrite every single one of them. I smear the ink because I want people to know that it wasn't a machine that wrote it. So I'll take my pinky and I'll smear the ink. I always write in blue ink on it. And then I customize my stamps. I have thousands of stamps. So if someone is in the armed services, I know the armed service they're in, and I'll put a Navy stamp on. If they are a country music fan, I'll use my Johnny Cash stamps. If they are a poet and love the great words, I use my Maya Angelou stamps. I'm very serious about those little tiny pieces. If they are LGBT, I use my Harvey Milk stamps. So, there's little simple things you can do, and people notice that stuff. So I'm real big on written notes.
I think it sounds like a term that I've learned called social objects. Philip, if you will.
Yeah, I know I can talk about that too. But before I do talk about though, I want to answer that question because the thing is, if you're not using technology, you're missing out on such a big segment of potential clients for you. So I think that, right, it's important to know what we're good at. Like Brian, he talks about the creativity and the photo and the video stuff. And not only is he passionate about it, but he's good at it. So it's something that he does. Just as important as knowing what you're good at, if not even more important, is knowing what you're not good at and getting someone to help you with it. I would answer that question to whoever, said that they weren't tech savvy or didn't want to use technology. And I would say, get someone who is to help you out. And I believe the return on investment is going to be a lot more than what you're putting in, as long as you have a system to follow it through, because you're going to reach more people. That's the beauty of tech, to reach more people. Now, social objects. A social object is just a way for people to relate to you that is outside of just real estate. Instead of shoving real estate down their throat 24/7, it's something else that you can share with them that will make them want to engage with you. So there's lots of people across the country that have really successful social objects, whether it be like Bobby Howe that lives in Missouri, or is she in Missouri?
St. Joseph, yep, Kansas City.
Yeah, okay, that's what I thought. She's in St. Joseph, Missouri, and she's obsessed with Oreo. And so whenever a new flavor of Oreo comes out, she'll post it on YouTube. I mean, it could be something that makes you just want to barf, like Swedish fish Oreo or something like that, but she's going to share it. And it's gotten to be so big. Other agents, and I'm sure her customers and clients, when they're out at the store, they specifically look. There's a new weird flavor of Oreo, and they're thinking about her. So she's maintaining her top of mind awareness with them. My example is margaritas, as you guys know. I live in San Antonio, Texas. So we went around and we said, we're on a mission to find the best margarita. And I'll actually tell Andrew that we did 100 episodes of that. And we made a video each time, and we bought a website, sanantonio.com. And I've actually now sold 15 properties to people that I've met at Margarita Monday. One person that I met was at the 3rd episode. We've done 6 transactions together, and we're on our 7th right now. So there's huge power in it. And I could go on and on and on about all of the stuff that Margarita Monday has done for me. But now that it's kind of over, what we're doing is we're coming up with something new. I'm sure a lot of y'all have heard of walk scores that talks about, how easy it is to walk to different things in your neighborhood. Well, we're going to start to do guac score that tells you how close good guacamole and a nice margarita is to your home.
Yes.
Margarita Monday back into people's top of mind awareness. So it's fun.
4 avocados out of 5.
There you go.
Oh, I love that. I love that.
Funny, but you will remember it, Andrew.
Do what?
I said it's funny, but you will remember it.
Oh, I absolutely will. And I think it's perfect timing for me to take another trip down to San Antonio, it sounds like, to come see you guys. Well, I think that's such a great way for you guys to kind of bridge that gap as well, because I know people may be intimidated by both jumping in themselves, but also asking for help. Sometimes it's a little daunting to approach people, but what I tell people all the time is that good people who are good teachers want to teach. And they want to help people. And if you can find the right people out there that want to teach, go seek them out and find them. In fact, one of the follow-up questions was, do the two of you do any personal coaching? And I mean, I won't answer for you, but I know you guys are super busy. But I think you guys do coaching in the sense that you both are such givers in our industry, just like you guys being here today, that there are a lot of people out there, even right.
Well, we'll answer for it. We'll answer our coaching question.
Ahead. Yeah, go
okay.
Ahead.
So coaching wise, I believe in doing mass events for people. feels involved in my event I've done now for, will be in 11 years or 12 years next year. Oh my gosh, called RE Bar Camp Nashville. Because one thing you'll discover when you're selling and you share like this is you can't coach. I mean, there's some people who coach and teach and train and sell. And again, the older I get and the more mistakes I make, I learn that I need to focus on one or two things really, really well. And so when people do ask me to coach, I invite them to come to my bar camp. It will be in Nashville again next year in April. You can go to rebarcampnashville.com and get that information. I'm also a sharer online. So you're going to constantly see me sharing things. Today, I talked about Black Lives Matter and our response in the industry of things we can do better as an industry. And so I try to do more mass things and do things like this because it gets me in front of more people. So, I wish I had the time to coach. I certainly would do it. It's just that I can't do the priority right now.
And I'm trying to get married in December, and I'm hoping that she still wants to marry me, so I need to save the little bit of free time that I have for Krista. I also don't offer coaching, but just like Brian, I'm an open book. I would love to connect with all of you on social media. And Andrew's brought me out to associations before, so every now and then I'm up for a speaking engagement as long as there's some good food and bourbon that comes with it. But I know you guys wouldn't let me down there. And other than that, like I said, if there's any questions anybody has now or in the future, I'll always be willing to share. I just don't have the time to do one-on-one coaching.
Well, and I can personally attest that Brian's RE Bar Camp in Nashville is really a fantastic event, a pinnacle event. Yeah. Philip's been there for a number of them, but I've certainly enjoyed going, and Brian does an excellent job. And talk about digital parallels. Brian transferred that this year to a digital setup, and I know that it was a lot of work, and I'm sure there were probably some nights Brian was staring at the ceiling like, is this going to be okay? And it was excellent. It was absolutely excellent, the transition that they did. And I think, again, one of the last questions that we had on our list was, everybody keeps talking about when are things going to get back to normal. I think you guys have heard me say, I'm not interested in going back to that normal. I am excited about, I think, where we're heading as an industry and as a society, where we don't have to be somewhere to be somewhere. Just like today, and the people that are here from their home or wherever they are listening to you all, they might not have been able to make it down. I know I saw Kim Dawson in here. There's a number of people who aren't here in Raleigh who might not be able to come here to Raleigh to hear you guys, but they're here digitally. So I think as an organization, we're trying to shift to that mindset where we have 9,000 members. We should stop measuring success of whether we get 30 people in the room and start wondering why we're not getting 1,000 people into a digital room. So what about you guys? As the people talk about getting back to normal, what are your things where you're like, no way, I like where I'm heading?
I think that, the only constant in any business, whether we're going through COVID and things or not, the only constant is change. And you have to be willing to adapt if you're going to not just survive, but thrive. And that's why my numbers are higher than average right now. And that's why Brian's saying that his numbers are higher than average right now, is because we're continuing to adapt. So, I agree with you, Andrew. I don't know that I'm ever going to go back to a normal. What people don't know is at the end of May, we decided to close one of our offices. We had to, and it wasn't a financial thing. It was the lease ran out. We were thinking about buying it, but commercial real estate taking a little bit more of a hit. And I think it will continue to, just because there's a shift in the way that we're thinking. So in our market, a lot of the office space, the values are going down, and the amount that they wanted us to purchase it for just didn't make sense. So we said, look, do we really need 2 office locations right now? No, we don't. And I'll say one more thing about, connecting and using technology in this new normal. You mentioned Kim Dawson, Andrew, and Kim is somebody that I met thanks to Brian, who connected us when I needed a referral. And you might not even remember this, Brian. It's probably been 3 months ago that I asked you about this. But Kim's working a referral for me right now. And we met with the people who are selling here in San Antonio. and buying up there. And we were able to connect on a Zoom chat. I could tell that for 3 of the 4 of us, it was our first Zoom chat ever. But being able to utilize that technology to all see each other in 2 different markets and create a game plan for these clients was really cool. And that's a new normal that I'm happy to keep doing. And I just thought that there was a lot of value in that. So yeah, I think we'll keep adapting, we'll keep changing, and we'll keep doing what's right for our clients and our communities.
Well, as a small broker, you got to think about your splits. You know, you're charging agents a split. And, you know, while your costs necessarily don't change, because we all know that if you have that 3,000 square foot building and it has 7 offices in it, it's like the gym. People aren't in there every day. They're coming in 10 minutes a week, maybe, and they might use a copy machine, but you're starting to pay for it. So they don't understand that while their lives have changed, that you still have the same costs. So they're going to want to talk about splits. And if you can't offer them a better split, they're going to get on the road. So you're going to have to think about your value proposition as we enter this next phase of business life, to say, is our model sustainable? And again, for big brokers, I hosted Inman's Broker Connect, not their indie broker, but their big broker connect. And we had brokerages on there with thousands and tens of thousands of agents. And their message was very clear that they're not changing what they're doing. Their value proposition is strong. They're keeping their offices open. They're building and growing and expanding. We're not in that boat as a small broker. That's not where we are. And you're going to have to think about, how do you compete? Do you want to compete with the big companies, and where do you fit in, and how does your value proposition speak into the tapestry of the agents in that you want to surround yourself with? So I think that's a philosophical thing. You need to go into your strategic planning. You need to get your team together. If you say, Brian, it's just me as the broker, then go get 3 agents who care about this business. Go get some affiliates who are, whether it be a title person or a mortgage lender you work with, and go get your spouse or your best friend, someone who will tell you the things you don't want to hear, and hire a strategic planning facilitator. Invest the money. Go read the Rockefeller Habits, learn about rhythms and dashboards and habits, and jump in there, because your business plan needs to be clear, and that value proposition and your values have to be clear for where we're going next.
Any books or podcasts? You mentioned a book there, Brian. Any books or podcasts you guys have been enjoying lately that you could suggest?
I podcast for fun. I mean, it's like telling you I'm going to watch, RuPaul's Drag Race for reality TV, that they're not going to get anything out of it. It's just fun. So my podcasts are all trash, and you would be so embarrassed to see what I listen to, because what comes in your brain comes out your mouth, and it's all trash, people. Because sometimes I just need to escape. And then on the book front, Power of Moments. That's what my next campaign, my next 5 years looks like, is what do powerful moments look like. Everything I'm doing focuses around Chip and Dan Heath's work. And so Phil went to go buy the book, just so you know. He just left the camera to
Yeah,
go.
he's out the door heading to buy it.
He probably has it, actually. That's probably what he's going to do, is to go get the book, because I probably told him about it too. So creating powerful moments, or the power of moments. And then again, mastering the Rockefeller Habits, which I mentioned here earlier. And you've got to start reading things about race. We got to talk about it. I'm a white guy, full of privilege. It may make you mad that I'm saying that, but we got to start talking about it. So white fragility. We've got to start having these hard talks with ourselves. We've got to start looking at our industry and how we're showing homes. We got to start looking at our specialty areas. We got to get out of our specialty areas, because your job is to know all markets. And we got to stop using excuses to not serve certain people. Okay. And we can hide behind certain things. So you've got to really, beyond reading, your reading should reflect into your heart. It should be the cleanse of your heart that you need right now, because a lot of us have some things that really make us mad. And when you get mad about something, it's because it's right, and you're wrong in it. So read around those things, because we've got to fix our race issues in our real estate industry. industry in our world.
You're here.
I did go grab a book, so you're right, Brian. But I'll tell you two books that I'm reading that I've read actually recently, and one that I've read twice that I think are good reads for real estate and good reads for kind of what's going on right now. But then I'm going to share two books that I'm actually reading right now that are not related to real estate, but are just great books in general. As far as real estate related, Lee Brown has got, and I'm sure most of y'all have but that book, Outrageous Authenticity, it takes 90 minutes to read, and there's so many good nuggets in it. I think it's even on Audible now too, so check that out if you haven't already read it. It's very good. And then my friend Tommy Choi, who's another great realtor and team leader and broker owner in the Chicagoland area, he told me about a book 3 years ago called The Compound Effect, and I've read it twice now. And the preface of it is, the little decisions that you make every day are what compound to create your life and your reality. And again, there's not a lot of rocket science in it, but it's one of the best books that I've ever read that's changed the way that I think and the way that I make the small decisions every day. What I'm reading right now, I'm a huge Richard Branson fan. I've got his new book, Finding My Virginity, here. It talks about him as an entrepreneur, some of his successes and failures and things he's learned along the way. And then also, I believe that, those who forget their history or fail to study it. Oh, am I still here? Can y'all hear me?
Yes, you're here.
Got signed out, it said, so I just wanted to make sure that I was still here.
You got abducted all this time.
Company training starting in 7 minutes. So Krista's in the other room getting that set up, and it signed me out of my account. But again, I feel like if you don't study history or you don't really understand some of the things and mistakes we've made as society in the past, that you're doomed to repeat it. So I'm reading a book called Night of the Silent Drums. It's a nonfiction book about the slave rebellion on St. John in the Virgin Islands, which it's an incredible read. The Virgin Islands are a place that's close to my heart, so I always try to learn more about the history there, and it's really relevant with some of the stuff that's going on right now too. So all good reads, and hopefully there's something in mind that's worth checking out.
Awesome. Well, I don't see any more questions in here. Chris, anything else?
I had one last question that did come in a couple of days ago. In a competitive market for agents, how do you incentivize agents so they stay with your firm?
It's all about culture. It's all
Yep.
It's about providing a place where people want to go, a place where people want to be affiliated with, where they have a purpose that's bigger than them and that they want to get behind. Once you sell people on that, and of course the value proposition, it doesn't matter what you charge. It doesn't matter what your split is, because cost is only an issue in the absence of value. And I've always ran my brokerage that way, and I do charge a high split. And the turnover rate is very, very low. And even top agents want to stay with us because of that culture. So that's, if I had to put it into one word, culture.
Okay. Interesting. Thank you.
And I've answered the question previously, so yeah.
What was the first book you said, Philip? Really quick, someone just asked.
Outrageous Authenticity by Lee Brown. And then I mentioned also The Compound Effect. I think that's by Darren Hardy. Then I've got Finding My Virginity by Richard Branson. And then the fourth one was Night of the Silent Drums.
Type it in the chat here. There you go. Okay. Everybody should know it now. Colleen, anything? I'm reading her lips. She says no. She's muted. She doesn't know she's muted, but
Loves us.
she said it was good, apparently. So anyway, well, I'll pass it over to Chris there.
Okay, great. Well, thank you all for joining us this morning. And as a Small Brokerage Council, we expect to have more of the Zoom meetings coming up with some other of our speakers that were unable to physically come to the association for the rest of 2020, what I'm thinking. Any new updates on that as far as meetings?
I'm sorry?
Are there any new updates as far as gathering for meetings at the association?
Yeah, so we're kind of waiting for the governor's order for no groups larger than 10 through the 26th, and then beyond that, we're going to use our large ballroom space if we're doing things that are in person. But honestly, at this rate, we're getting such amazing participation online. We're always going to have a digital component from here on out. So that way, if people don't feel comfortable or don't want to come all the way down, again, we've got people down in Harnett County right now who are 40 plus miles away being able to I see Ann Milton on here from Harnett County. It's like, yay. So again, I think again, it's part of that new normal. I think right now participation, we had 35, 37 at the peak. I think some people have hopped off, but we had a little bit over 40, I think, when we were at full capacity. Yes, Susan said 40. So anyway, listen, I love these two guys more than anything. I am going to be trying to bring them here live in person at some point when the world becomes a better place. But both of these guys, experts, near and dear to my heart. So we'll be bringing them in again, and hopefully in person, maybe together. Maybe we bring them together at the same time, because that would be a really nice dinner party too.
Thank you. Okay, thank you all for attending today. We hope we gave you some valuable information and some good nuggets to take away for your business.